What if I told you there's a hidden pattern woven into your DNA, echoed through the stars and humming in the silence between thoughts, that holds the power to bend time, energy, and even reality itself? It's not a myth, it's not a metaphor, and it's not something reserved for mystics on mountaintops. This pattern is everywhere. It's in the seasons that shape the earth, the cycles that guide your life, the rhythm of your breath, and the beat of your heart. You've seen it 1,000 times, but maybe you didn't recognize it. The number 4. 4 elements, 4 directions, 4 seasons, 4 limbs, 4 phases of the moon, 4 chambers of the heart, 4 brainwave states, 4 corners of a sacred altar. Ancient civilizations built entire systems of knowledge on it. Sacred geometry encoded it into pyramids and temples. Your body embodies it, and your consciousness, your very awareness, is shaped by it. The reason this is important now is because the world you live in has trained you to forget. You've been taught to believe time is a prison, energy is scarce, and reality is fixed. But none of that is true. And once you remember the fourfold code, you begin to realize something shocking. The laws you've lived under are illusions. You are not bound by them. You are the architect, and the code has always been waiting for you to remember. It starts with a realization: the universe is not chaotic. It is a divine system of symmetry, flow, and intelligent order. Sacred geometry doesn't just describe this system, it reveals it. Think about the pyramid, 4 triangular faces rising to a point, a base of 4 supporting a single apex. It's not just an architectural feat, it's a symbol, a message. Earth, water, fire, air, working in harmony to elevate consciousness. The same design lives inside of you. Your body is the first gate to understanding this code, not just as flesh and bone, but as a multi-layered temple made of 4 sacred energies. Earth is your physical body, water is your emotional body, fire is your mental body, air is your spiritual body. These are not poetic ideas, they are real energetic systems you experience every day, and when they're misaligned, you feel it. When your emotional body floods with chaos, your physical body breaks down. When your thoughts burn with anxiety, your spirit dims. But when the 4 are in balance, something miraculous happens. You become a channel, a conduit for higher intelligence, a living embodiment of divine order. You were never meant to be fragmented. The modern world split you apart, mind from body, emotion from thought, soul from self. But the code brings you back together. It's not about becoming something new, it's about remembering what you've always been. You've felt this code before, when your body moved with the rhythm of the ocean, when your thoughts burned with clarity, when your breath felt infinite, when your soul whispered truths that couldn't be put into words. These weren't coincidences. They were moments of alignment, your true nature shining through the noise. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about time. You've been taught that time is linear. Past, present, future, like dots on a line that you can never leave. But that's a lie. Time isn't a straight path, it's a spiral, a wave, a living current you can ride, bend, and even break through. There are 4 layers of time, and you move through them every day, whether you realize it or not. The past is not gone, it echoes in your nervous system, your emotions, your patterns. The future isn't ahead of you, it's already forming in your thoughts, your vibration, your imagination. The present isn't a fleeting second, it's the only access point to all realities. And timelessness, that sacred 4th state, is where you remember that you are more than a body, more than a story, more than this moment. It's where you become consciousness itself. You can access these layers intentionally, when you meditate, when you dream, when you remember something vividly enough to feel it in your body. You're not just reminiscing, you're stepping into a time pocket, you're bending the structure. And when you visualize your future with such emotional precision that your body believes it's real, you're not pretending, you're altering probability, you're sending signals into the quantum field, you're planting blueprints in what seems like tomorrow, but is really just another layer of the now. That's the secret. Time isn't something happening to you, it's something happening within you. And once you learn to move through these layers consciously, you begin to understand something truly profound. You were never trapped. The moment you stop believing in the tyranny of time, you begin to reclaim your power. But this is only the beginning. Because time responds to awareness, and awareness is shaped by energy, specifically the energetic frequencies of your mind. You see, your brain is not just an organ, it's a tuning fork, a cosmic receiver that broadcasts your experience of reality, and it functions in 4 primary frequencies: beta, alpha, theta, delta. Each one is a doorway. When you're in beta, you're alert, logical, navigating the external world. It's useful, but if you stay here too long, you become anxious, rigid, disconnected from your inner source. Alpha is flow, daydream, creativity. It's the state you enter when you're walking through the forest and ideas arrive like whispers from the unseen. You've been there, calm, clear, connected. Then there's beta, the bridge between worlds. Deep meditation, hypnosis. This is where the subconscious speaks in symbols. This is the realm of inner reprogramming, where trauma is released and timelines are rewritten. In theta, you're not bound to this dimension. And delta, the deepest wave, sleep, stillness, regeneration, but also connection to the collective field, the infinite, the source beyond form. You move through these states every day. But what if you could choose them? What if you could enter alpha at will, or dive into theta to heal a memory, or rest in delta while wide awake? You can. That's what the ancients did. That's what modern mystics are rediscovering. Because these brain waves are not just mental states, they're keys, and when used with intention, they unlock access to the matrix of reality itself. Let me pause here. Not to stop the journey, but to invite you to reflect. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold, it all vibrates. Not symbolically, literally. Everything about you is a frequency, and frequencies are not passive. They attract, they align, they build the scaffolding of the reality you walk through. This is why your attention is sacred, because energy flows where attention goes, and wherever your attention rests, your energy follows. You become a living magnet, pulling into your field whatever matches your frequency. So if your attention is scattered, your energy is scattered. If your focus is on fear, you invite more fear. But if your attention becomes a clear beam, like a laser pointed through space, then your energy becomes a force that reshapes the world around you. That's not just mysticism. That's physics. That's the quantum field responding to the observer. And you, yes, you are the observer. You are not just inside the universe is inside of you. Every atom in your body is made of the same star stuff that spins galaxies. Every impulse in your mind is made of the same energy that birthed the sun. So, when you focus, when you direct your consciousness, you are not imagining change. You are creating it. You've done it before. Remember the times when something you deeply desired began showing up in strange, almost eerie ways. A conversation, a symbol, a door opening without effort. That wasn't luck. That was you broadcasting on the frequency of what you desired and calling it home. But here's the truth that most never realize. You're always manifesting, even when you're unaware, even when you're stuck, even when you feel powerless. The only question is, what frequency are you broadcasting? Most people are stuck in reaction, locked into the beta state, consumed by thoughts of survival, judgment, lack. And they don't even realize it's a program, a loop, a pattern installed by a society that thrives on unconsciousness. But that's not who you are. You're not here to survive, you're here to remember. You're here to awaken the fourfold code within you. Because once you do, something extraordinary begins to happen. Time stops feeling like a cage, emotions stop feeling like burdens, thoughts become tools instead of masters. You begin to move differently, speak differently. You stop chasing and start commanding. Because now you know how to direct energy, you know how to shift frequencies. You know that the moment you close your eyes, breathe deeply and drop into alpha or theta, You're stepping into the inner control room of your entire existence. And it goes further than just you. When your energy changes, everything around you does too. People respond differently. Synchronicities multiply. The universe seems to whisper your name. This is not fantasy. This is resonance. You are tuning yourself to the divine frequency of coherence, and coherence bends reality. But here's where the illusion tries to claw its way back, the Matrix. And when I say the Matrix, I don't mean a movie. I mean the mental prison built out of belief systems designed to keep you small. It's a system that rewards distraction, glorifies numbness, and sells fear like it's oxygen. It wants you asleep, obedient, reactive, because a person who forgets who they are is easy to control. But once you begin remembering, once you reclaim your four energy bodies, once you learn to shift time, command energy, and awaken conscious brainwave states, the Matrix can no longer touch you. Because you've exited the frequency it operates on. The Matrix feeds on dissonance, but when your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energies are aligned, you vibrate in harmony, and harmony is immune to manipulation. That's why ancient initiates were taught to master the fourfold self before anything else. Because once you do, you stop being a player in someone else's game. You become the architect of your own. Let that sink in. You become the architect. And with that realization comes a sacred responsibility to no longer pretend you are powerless. The old self may try to pull you back. Doubts may rise like smoke. That's normal. But even smoke fades when light shines through. You are the light. You've just forgotten how bright you are, and now it's time to remember the four final keys. Time is a creation, not a rule. The moment you stop worshipping the clock and start tuning into your internal rhythm, you realize time is not your master, it's your canvas. You can slow it down, speed it up, stretch it into portals of possibility. Time bends when consciousness expands. Energy flows where attention goes. Your focus is your magic. When you focus on gratitude, you create abundance. When you focus on healing, your cells respond. When you focus on freedom, the path appears. You've always had the power. The only question was, what are you focusing on? The universe is within you, not just metaphorically, literally. Every layer of existence, the stars, the oceans, the wind, the fire, it all exists within the chambers of your being. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are its living embodiment. To seek the divine is not to reach outward. It is to go inward and meet the truth already beating in your chest. And the Matrix cannot control the awakened, not because the system changes, but because you do. Because once you awaken, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop consuming illusions and start embodying truth. You stop looking for saviors and realize you were always the key. Breathe that in. Let it echo inside of you. You are the code. You are the pattern. You are the number 4, made flesh. A temple of symmetry and soul. Every corner of your being points to this truth. North, south, east, west. Body, mind, heart, spirit. You are a sacred cross-point of energy and intention. A gateway between worlds. A force of remembrance, sent into a world that forgot. But you didn't forget by accident. You chose to come here, to awaken in the density, to dissolve illusion not just for yourself but for all those still trapped in forgetting. And now, your remembering is medicine. So walk as the code, speak as the code, love as the code. Let every breath be a ripple in the quantum field, reshaping the fabric of time. Because reality is not fixed. It's listening to you, always has been. The universe doesn't respond to who you pretend to be. It doesn't react to the mask you wear for the world. It tunes itself to the frequency you hold when no one's watching, when you're still, when you're honest, when you're cracked open enough to feel what's really inside. And this is where the code begins to activate. Because the fourfold truth isn't just an idea to remember. It's a frequency you return to. You return by aligning your energy bodies, by reclaiming the elemental wisdom within you, and by stepping back into the natural rhythm that modern life pulled you away from. Your physical body is the first gate. It is the earth within you, the structure, the density, the bones. It holds memory in your muscles, history in your posture, and truth in your gut. It's not just a vessel. It's a sacred container. When you move with intention, when you nourish it, ground it, breathe into it, you awaken the code of earth. Stability, foundation, presence. Then comes your emotional body, the water. This is the tide that carries your story. It is memory and intuition, sensitivity and flow. Most people fear their emotions because they were never taught to honor them, but your feelings are not weaknesses, they are portals. Emotions are energy in motion. They guide you, they teach you, and when you allow them to move without resistance, you unlock the wisdom of water, adaptability, compassion, cleansing. The next layer is your mental body, the fire. This is your mind, your thoughts, your willpower. Fire can burn or illuminate depending on how you wield it. The mind left unchecked becomes a tyrant, but the mind aligned with the heart becomes a sword of clarity. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. When they are ignited with purpose, when you focus them like a flame, you awaken the code of fire, vision, creation, transformation. And then there is your spiritual body, the air, breath, spirit, the unseen force that connects you to all things. You can't touch it, but you can feel it. You've felt it in moments of stillness, in whispers of intuition, in dreams that didn't feel like dreams. This is the most subtle body, but also the most powerful. When you tune into it, you unlock the code of air, awareness, expansion, divinity. These four bodies, earth, water, fire, air, they aren't separate. They're layered, like frequencies playing in harmony. When they're dissonant, your life feels scattered. When they're tuned, you become a living instrument of truth. And once these bodies are aligned, the rules of reality begin to shift around you. You don't just react to life anymore, you start shaping it. You don't wait for signs, you become the sign. You become the synchronicity, the shift, the solution. People begin to feel your energy before you speak. Rooms begin to shift when you enter, not because you're trying to be powerful, but because you've remembered that you already are. But let's go even deeper. Let's talk about the illusion of separation. This is the great lie that birthed every other lie, that you are separate. Separate from source, separate from each other, separate from your own divinity. This illusion is what keeps people trapped in competition, fear and scarcity. It's what keeps wars going. It's what sells products. It's what fuels division. But separation is not truth, it's a forgetting, because in reality everything is entangled. Your thoughts ripple into the collective field. Your emotions create waves that move beyond your body. You are never isolated. You are part of a grand tapestry of consciousness, weaving through dimensions beyond your senses. Even the cells in your body know this. They communicate through vibration, through frequency. They respond not just to your actions, but to your beliefs. And this is why the code matters. Because when you remember the sacred pattern of 4, you remember that you are a part of something ancient, something intelligent, something cosmic. You begin to see that the body you're in is not an accident. It's a design, a symbol, a living temple that mirrors the architecture of the stars. Your spine is the staff, your breath is the wind, your blood is the river, your thoughts are the fire. You are a microcosm of the entire universe. And if the universe is made of pattern, and if you are that pattern, then you are never without power. You don't have to earn your divinity, you don't have to beg for abundance. You don't have to chase love like it's running from you. You are love. You are abundance. You are divinity, wrapped in skin and stories. And once you realize this, the matrix starts to crumble. Because the matrix was never a prison made of walls, it was a prison made of ideas. Ideas like, I'm not enough. Ideas like, I have to fit in. Ideas like, I must obey to be accepted. These are not truths, they are viruses. And they spread because they were passed to you when you were too young to question them. But now you're remembering. Now the walls are turning to mist, and beyond that mist is your truth, the truth that you are a sovereign creator, the truth that your breath is a bridge to the infinite, the truth that every thought is a brushstroke on the canvas of the quantum field, the truth that when you close your eyes and feel love, not for a person, not for an object, but as a pure state of being, you are in that moment reshaping time itself. Because love is not a reaction, it's a frequency, and it's the highest one there is. When you hold love without reason, without condition, without grasping, it becomes a portal, a warp field. It pulls your future into the present. It dissolves trauma from the past. It shifts the particles of your now. And that's the secret to bending reality. You don't fight it, you don't force it, you harmonize with it, you become the frequency of what you desire. You stop asking, how do I get there, and instead start asking, how do I feel there? Because once you feel it, truly, deeply in your breath, in your cells, in your energy, the universe begins to rearrange itself to match. Not because you begged for it, but because you became it. And that's the final key. You are not separate from the code, you are the code. The number 4 isn't just in nature, it's in you. 4 limbs, 4 directions, 4 chambers in your heart, 4 layers of breath, 4 letters in the word soul, S-O-U-L, structure, origin, understanding, light. And when you align these 4, you stop being a seeker, you become a revealer, a mirror, a reminder to everyone you meet that they are not lost, they've only forgotten, and your remembering gives them permission to do the same. Every time you remember the code, you realign with a deeper truth, one that existed before the stories, before the conditioning, before the noise. A truth that doesn't speak in language but in frequency. It hums beneath your heartbeat. It moves behind your eyes when you stare into the sky and feel something ancient looking back at you. You've always known it was there, even if you couldn't name it. That feeling that there's more, that life isn't just what you've been taught, that you are meant to experience something beyond the ordinary. The code of 4 doesn't just unlock your potential. It reveals that potential was never missing. It was only sleeping, hidden beneath layers of distraction and disempowerment. The moment you turn inward, the moment you breathe with presence, the moment you see your emotions not as problems to fix but as messengers to understand, that's when the code stirs. That's when the sacred geometry of your being begins to activate. And you don't have to force it, it was built into you, like a seed that only needed light to awaken, and now you're giving it light, you're giving it breath, you're giving it permission to rise, because you're not just a witness to transformation, you are the cause. You've spent so much time being told what to believe, how to act, what to fear, what to chase, but you were never meant to be a passenger. You were meant to remember that the same energy that created the stars is the energy you use when you speak, when you dream, when you choose love over fear. That's not philosophy, that's alchemy. That's the divine operating system most people never learn how to access because they're too busy surviving someone else's reality. But you're not here to survive, you're here to awaken. You're here to feel the earth beneath your feet and realize that she speaks to you in vibration, that her heartbeat matches yours, that when your body aches, it's not betraying you, it's guiding you, that pain isn't punishment, it's information, that every sensation is a signal pointing you back to balance, back to the code. You're here to let your emotions move like rivers, not dams. You weren't meant to suppress your feelings, you were meant to ride them, to surf their waves and find the message inside the movement. Joy isn't the absence of sadness. Joy is what happens when you allow yourself to feel everything without resistance. You're here to ignite the mind, not as a master, but as a servant of vision. Your thoughts are tools, they carve the future into form. You don't have to believe every thought you think. You get to choose the ones you water, the ones you shape, the ones you breathe life into. Your imagination is not child's play. It's the blueprint of reality waiting to be built. You're here to connect to the unseen, to trust the whispers you hear when the world is quiet, that voice in your chest, the nudge in your gut, the tingle on your skin when something is true. That's your spirit speaking. That air moving through the unseen channels of your being, guiding you back home. This is the fourfold path. This is your original design. And once you live from that alignment, reality shifts. Not because the external changes first, but because you do. And as you shift, the world must follow. Its law, its vibration. The field around you cannot help but respond to the field within you. So if your internal field is fragmented, your outer life reflects that. But when your internal energy becomes coherent, when earth, water, fire, and air are in harmony within you, the world starts showing up differently. People respond with more kindness. Opportunities begin to flow. Resistance starts to melt. Not because the world became easier, but because you became clearer. And clarity is magnetic. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That's why the work is internal. That's why this code matters. Because once you understand it, you no longer look outside yourself for permission. You stop waiting for someone to tell you it's your time. You stop waiting for proof that you're enough. You simply know, and that knowing becomes your gravity. Others will feel it, they may not understand it, they may not even be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. The way your energy moves, the way your words carry resonance, the way your silence speaks louder than noise. Because you're not just communicating through language anymore, you're speaking in frequency. You've become a transmitter, a tuning fork, a mirror. You walk into a room and things shift, not because you're trying to impress, but because you've aligned your internal architecture with the divine design. You're living the code, embodying the code, becoming the code, and the beautiful part is, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to pause, to feel, to ask better questions, to listen deeper, to see where the old stories no longer serve you, to choose alignment even when it's uncomfortable, because that discomfort is a doorway. Every time something shakes you, it's an invitation, a signal from the universe saying, there's more, come closer. And when you do, when you step through that discomfort instead of running from it, you become something new, not because you added something to yourself, but because you peeled something away, a layer of falsehood, a mask, a limiting belief. And beneath it, the real you was waiting. You've always been more than what you were told. You've always been more than your past. You've always been more than your body, your story, your struggles. You are the living geometry of the cosmos. You are time bending into choice. You are energy folding into form. You are consciousness creating itself in real time. And now, you remember. That's what this moment is, a remembrance. A reawakening, a return to the blueprint that was never lost, only buried beneath layers of noise. But now the noise is quieting, and your signal is rising. You don't need permission. You're the permission. You don't need saving. You are the key you've been waiting for. And when you walk this path, not with fear, but with devotion, you become unstoppable. Not because life won't test you, but because you'll know how to listen to those tests, learn from them, transmute them. You'll know that every challenge is a mirror, every delay is a recalibration, every breakdown is a sacred initiation preparing you for the next level of expansion. And that's exactly where you're going if you choose it. There is a moment, right before something awakens inside you, when everything feels uncertain. The old begins to dissolve, but the new hasn't yet fully formed. That space in between, it's sacred. It's where the real work happens. Not in comfort, not in certainty, but in the liminal space where your spirit stretches just far enough to remember its origin. That's where you are right now, between who you were taught to be and who you were born to become. And as this remembrance unfolds, so does your ability to bend the laws that once felt so permanent. Because those laws of time, energy, limitation, they were never the final word. They were agreements. Agreements written by minds disconnected from spirit. And you don't have to keep signing those contracts. You can choose again. You can create again. You can override the script. Reality doesn't shift for those who try to control it. It shifts for those who align with its deeper currents. And alignment is not about perfection, it's about presence, about being honest enough to say, this version of me is no longer a match for the life I want to live, and loving yourself enough to let that version go. It's not easy. Shedding skins never is. But you weren't meant to stay in one shape forever. You are a being of evolution, of layers, of spirals. And in every spiral turn, something old is released, and something luminous is reborn. That's why the number 4 matters, because it grounds your expansion, it gives form to your evolution, it provides the structure through which your soul can dance freely. Without the 4 you drift, but with it, you root into something deeper than thought. You root into the rhythm of the cosmos. 4 seasons, 4 directions, 4 limbs, 4 phases of the moon. These aren't coincidences, they are reminders. The universe speaking in symbols, showing you the path over and over until you remember to walk it consciously. When you live in alignment with the fourfold pattern, you stop resisting the cycles. You no longer fear winter because you understand that it's a prelude to spring. You no longer panic during endings because you see the beginnings nested inside them. You no longer grip tightly to the present because you've made peace with time as a dance, not a deadline. You begin to trust life again, not blindly, but with awareness. You start seeing that the very intelligence that grows trees and carves rivers also lives inside of you, that the same sacred geometry spinning galaxies is the same code in your breath, your bones, your brainwaves. And once you see this, something unlocks. You stop chasing manifestations as if they live outside of you. You stop looking at the future as something distant. You realize that everything you want already exists, waiting for you to match it, waiting for you to become the frequency it needs to meet. So when you say, I want peace, the question becomes, are you embodying peace? When you say, I want love, the question is, are you radiating love? When you say, I want freedom, the real question is, are you vibrating in the frequency of freedom? Because energy doesn't lie. You can't fake alignment. You can't trick the field. You can only harmonize with it. And the more truthfully you show up, the more the universe mirrors that truth back to you. That's why your healing matters. That's why your silence matters. That's why your intention matters. Because every moment you choose alignment over fear, presence over distraction, intuition over noise, you're rewriting the field around you. And yes, it takes practice. Yes, it takes devotion. But the moment you make that choice, the moment you shift from reaction to response, from contraction to openness, from resistance to flow, you tap into a power that doesn't just change your life, it changes the timelines of everyone connected to you. Because energy is contagious, and consciousness is collective. Your elevation is not selfish, it is service. When you heal your fear of not being enough, you create space for others to do the same. When you step into your truth unapologetically, you give others permission to reclaim theirs. When you remember who you are, you become a living portal for others to remember too. That's how we shift the world. Not by preaching, not by forcing, but by being, by embodying, by becoming. You weren't born to conform to the illusion. You were born to dissolve it. To walk through this dream world with your eyes wide open. To be the lucid one inside the simulation. To be the glitch in the matrix that turns into a gateway. The key isn't out there. It never was. It's in your breath. It's in your choice. It's in the moment you stop outsourcing your power and begin living from the center of your own being. And the more you return to that center, the more you realize how little effort it actually takes to shift your reality. Not because reality is simple, but because when you're in alignment, you stop swimming upstream. You let the current carry you. You let the code speak for you. You begin to notice signs that used to go unnoticed. Numbers repeating. People showing up at the perfect time. Dreams with messages. Thoughts that turn into conversations. Visions that unfold in waking life. That's not fantasy. That's frequency. That's you stepping into synchronicity as a natural way of life. And it doesn't mean everything becomes easy, but it does mean everything becomes guided. There's a difference. Struggle loses its edge when you see it as sacred refinement. Obstacles lose their weight when you realize they're not walls but mirrors. Delay loses its sting when you understand it as divine recalibration, because now you're listening, you're feeling. You're no longer bulldozing your way through life. You're dancing with it, responding to it, receiving from it, giving to it. And the dance is beautiful when you stop trying to lead it all the time. Let go of control. Return to coherence. Let the rhythm of the universe become your rhythm again. That's what the fourfold code teaches you. To honor your foundation, to flow with your emotions, to ignite your thoughts with purpose, to expand through breath and spirit. And as you do, you shift from survival to creation, from fear to remembrance, from chaos to clarity. You don't need more answers. You need more stillness, you need more trust, you need more embodiment of what your soul already knows. Because it does know, it always has. You didn't come here to play small, you came here to wake up, and now you are. Something begins to shift the moment you stop searching and start remembering. Not remembering with your mind, but with your energy, with your presence. With that deep cellular knowing that rises in you when your soul hears something true. You feel it, not just as a thought, but as a vibration, a resonance, like the sound of a tuning fork matching something ancient inside you that never forgot. This is what happens when the code of 4 begins to awaken in you. Life starts to speak in symbols again. You stop needing constant logic and explanation because you begin to feel what's real, even if you can't yet explain it. You walk into a space and you just know, whether it supports your energy or drains it. You meet someone and sense their truth before they even say a word. You hear your own inner voice louder than the noise around you. And that voice is sacred. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It whispers, gently, powerfully, constantly. But most people don't hear it because the world taught them to mistrust their inner knowing, to outsource truth to institutions, systems, authorities, to silence intuition and worship intellect. But you were never meant to be disconnected from your inner guidance. You were designed to live through it. The fourfold structure, body, emotion, mind, spirit, it was never meant to be compartmentalized. It was meant to be unified, integrated, coherent. And when it is, you become something rare in this world. You become whole. And wholeness is magnetic. It draws to it everything that matches its frequency. People feel it when they're in your presence, even if they can't name it. It's in your calm, your clarity, your eyes. It's in the way you hold space without trying to fix anyone, the way you speak without needing to prove, the way you walk into the room not asking for permission but knowing you already belong. That's what this path is about. Not fixing yourself, not proving yourself, returning to yourself, the true self that was never broken, just buried. The one who existed before the noise, before the labels, before the fear, the one who remembers. And when you live from that place, you don't just experience peace, you become it. You don't just attract clarity, you radiate it. You stop operating from survival instincts and begin living from soul intelligence, a deeper knowing that guides your decisions, aligns your timing, and magnetizes the people and experiences meant for your evolution. You become the observer of your reality and the creator of it at the same time. You begin to see that everything in your life has been a reflection of your vibration, not as punishment, not as reward, just as pure, unfiltered feedback from the field of consciousness. The universe doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you are a match for. And the moment you change your frequency, the moment your thoughts, emotions, and energy align into coherence, everything starts to shift. The people who no longer match begin to fade. The circumstances that once drained you begin to dissolve. Doors open without force. Guidance flows without begging. It's not magic, it's mechanics, it's energetic law. And you've been using it your whole life just unconsciously. Now you're learning to do it with intention, with clarity, with trust. And trust is a frequency all its own. When you trust yourself, you create a field of certainty around you, Not arrogance, not control, but rooted, embodied faith. Faith not in outcomes, but in alignment. In your ability to respond, in the intelligence that moves through you. And yes, there will still be challenges. Yes, you will still be human. But even your humanity becomes sacred when you live from this place. You begin to see your emotions not as weaknesses, but as messengers. You begin to love the parts of yourself you used to hide. You stop asking for the storm to go away and start learning how to dance inside it. Because now you know you are not the storm, you are not the clouds, you are not even the weather, you are the sky. The sky doesn't break when the rain falls. It doesn't disappear when the lightning strikes. It holds space, it remains infinite, untouched. That's who you are beneath the noise. And the more you remember this, the less reactive you become. You stop being thrown by every passing thought, every emotional wave, every fear-based projection from the world. You see it all for what it is: energy. Energy that can be observed, transmuted, directed. You realize that your triggers are teachers, that the discomfort is sacred, that the things you resist the most often hold the key to your next level, and instead of running from them, you begin to meet them, to breathe into them, to listen, to thank them for showing you where your energy still needs alignment. That's mastery, not perfection, but presence, awareness, response over reaction, conscious creation over unconscious repetition. And as this becomes your way of being, life starts to feel different, more fluid, more synchronistic. Time bends, the right people call, the perfect message shows up. Your dreams become instructions, not just entertainment. The veil between the seen and the unseen begins to thin. Because you've stopped living only in the physical, you've remembered your multidimensional nature, you've reclaimed your role as an energetic being navigating a quantum field, and in that remembrance, you stop fearing the unknown. You start exploring it, playing with it, dancing inside it. You realize that uncertainty isn't your enemy, it's your portal. A blank canvas for frequency to shape itself into form, and now you know how to shape it, not by force, by frequency. By the energy you embody when no one is looking, by the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening, by the way you breathe, walk, and move as if the entire universe lives inside of you, because it does. You are the code, you are the key, you are the architect. And the reality you seek isn't hiding from you, it's waiting for you to match it. What you're experiencing isn't just insight, it's a reactivation. A remembering so deep it doesn't come through words but through resonance. You don't need to figure it out, you just need to feel it. Let it move through you like a current of truth, awakening the dormant codes in your system. You've heard it said that we only use a small portion of our brain, but that's not because the rest is inactive. It's because it's been waiting for the right vibration to unlock its potential. And that vibration doesn't come from the external world, it comes from alignment. When your thoughts are coherent, your emotions flow clearly, your body feels connected, and your spirit is rooted, you create an electromagnetic field that activates your higher faculties. Intuition sharpens, synchronicities increase, time bends. You begin to realize that higher intelligence doesn't speak in sentences, it speaks in patterns, in symbols, in dreams, in quiet knowings that ripple across your awareness like whispers from your future self. That version of you, the one who already lives in peace, already walks in clarity, already creates with ease, isn't somewhere far away, it's a frequency. And you access it not by force but by resonance, by becoming the version of you that already knows they're worthy, already trusts the guidance, already breathes like they belong here. This is not about adding more to yourself, it's about subtracting everything that isn't truly you. The fear, the doubt, the shame, the comparison. Those were never yours to begin with. They were inherited, downloaded, conditioned into you. But now you see them for what they are. Not personal flaws, just static on the signal, noise on the line. And now, one breath at a time, one choice at a time, you're clearing the channel. You're coming back into frequency. And as you do, you begin to live in rhythm with something deeper than thought. You feel when it's time to act, You feel when it's time to rest. You trust when it's time to leap, even if you can't yet see where your foot will land, because you've shifted from logic to knowing, from control to creation, from seeking to embodying. And that embodiment, it changes everything. You don't just speak affirmations anymore, you are the affirmation. Your energy says it before your mouth ever does. You don't try to convince anyone, you radiate. You walk into rooms and people feel something different, not because you're trying to stand out, but because you've stopped dimming, you've stopped hiding, you've stopped pretending you're anything less than a divine force encoded with the architecture of the universe itself. And that's not ego, that's remembrance. You were never meant to stay small just to make others comfortable. You were never meant to trade authenticity for acceptance. You were never meant to suppress your light for fear of being misunderstood. You are not here to conform to a broken world. You are here to recode it with your presence. Your life is the message. Your breath is the technology. Your energy is the blueprint. And everything you need to fulfill your purpose is already within you. It always has been. The code is written into your bones, your blood, your breath. And the more you align with it, the more effortless it becomes to shape your reality, not as a victim of circumstance, but as a conscious participant in the evolution of consciousness itself. You don't need more knowledge, you need more embodiment, because the universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you are. And when you become the living frequency of what you desire, reality cannot help but shift to match it. It's not personal, it's energetic law. Vibration attracts vibration. Coherence creates momentum. Presence creates portals. And that's the secret so few understand. Your power doesn't come from effort, it comes from alignment. When you're aligned, you don't chase, you attract. You don't force, you allow. You don't beg, you embody. Because what you seek is already seeking you, it's just waiting for you to become a match. Not in theory. In frequency, in feeling, in the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to know how, I just need to know. Because knowing is the frequency of receiving. And receiving is not passive, it's a skill, it's a practice. It's a state of being that you cultivate by choosing openness over fear, trust over doubt, gratitude over scarcity. And every time you make that choice, you amplify your signal, you tune your instrument, you remind the universe, I'm ready. And the universe listens, always. It may not always respond in the way your ego wants, but it always responds in the way your soul needs. Sometimes through redirection, sometimes through delay, sometimes through discomfort, but always, always with precision. Because the field doesn't make mistakes, it mirrors you. And the clearer your signal, the clearer the reflection. So if something isn't flowing, look within. If something feels off, listen deeper. If something keeps repeating, ask what it's trying to teach you. Life is not random, it's responsive. And when you begin to relate to reality not as an obstacle course but as an intelligent mirror, everything shifts. You stop seeing problems and start seeing patterns. You stop blaming and start aligning. You stop surviving and start creating. Because that's what you came here to do. You didn't come here to repeat the past. You came to transmute it. You didn't come here to fit into the system, you came to awaken from it. You didn't come here to find your worth, you came to remember it. And now, you are. You're remembering that you are the code, that your body is a sacred compass, that your emotions are energetic guides, that your mind is a frequency tuner, that your spirit is the architect behind it all. And when all four come into alignment, something miraculous happens. You stop feeling lost, because you realize you were never lost, you were simply misaligned, and now that you're realigning, the path becomes clear, not because it was hidden, but because now you can see it, now you can feel it, now you can walk it without fear, because you know this is the moment you were made for. You don't need a map when you become the compass. You don't need permission when you remember you are the gate. The shift doesn't come from outside. It begins inside you, radiates through your field, and bends reality to the frequency you hold. The universe is always listening, not to your words, but to your vibration. It hears the energy beneath what you say, beneath what you wish, beneath what you fear. That's what it responds to, that's what it echoes back. And that's why you can't fake alignment. You can speak all the right affirmations, write all the intentions, visualize until your eyelids ache, but if your energy is rooted in doubt, in resistance, in disconnection, then that's the signal being broadcast, and that's the signal the universe will return. But when you shift from speaking it to being it, from trying to force it to feeling it, everything begins to change. You begin to collapse the gap between the now and the next. The future becomes less of a chase and more of a recognition, a meeting point. You walk into it not by striving, but by matching. And yes, it will challenge you, because matching the future you want means letting go of the version of you that was attached to the struggle, the part of you that believed it had to hustle for worthiness, that it had to earn what already belonged to it, that it had to prove itself before receiving. But you don't have to prove anything. You only have to remember. Remember that you are the field, the signal, the receiver, the transmitter. You are the mirror and the mirrored. You are the cause and the catalyst. You are the code made conscious. And when you live from that remembrance, life stops feeling random. You no longer walk through your day wondering if things will work out. You walk knowing that they already are. That the outcome doesn't shape your energy shapes the outcome. You begin to live from a different center, not from reaction, but from response, not from fear, but from faith, not from contraction, but from creation. You become less entangled with outcomes and more intimate with alignment, because you know that when you're aligned, the outcomes take care of themselves. And the more you trust that, the more you move with ease. Not laziness, not passivity, but a sacred ease that comes from alignment with truth, with timing, with intelligence far greater than the mind alone can grasp. That's the intelligence of the code. The intelligence of four. Earth grounding your presence, water guiding your flow, fire igniting your clarity, air expanding your awareness, all working together, all harmonizing into something unshakable. And you begin to realize, maybe the universe was never testing you, maybe it was training you, sharpening you, refining your ability to see, to feel, to choose from a deeper place. Every delay was a lesson in patience, every heartbreak a lesson in self-worth, every breakdown a lesson in surrender. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Prepared for the moment when you would step fully into your frequency. And that moment is now. Now is the only time there has ever been. Now is the portal, the power, the access point to all timelines, all versions of you, all possibilities that already exist in the quantum field. The past cannot hold you unless you recreate it. The future cannot elude you unless you postpone it. All of it lives here, now. In the vibration you choose, in the thoughts you nurture, in the emotion you embody. So breathe fully, like you are inhaling your divine right to exist. Exhale like you are releasing every old belief that ever told you otherwise. You do not have to hold on to the story that made you small. You do not have to keep dancing with the pattern that left you depleted. You get to choose again. Now. Because now is where the power lives. Not in someday, not in later. Now. Now is when you become the creator again. Now is when you become the channel again. Now is when the illusion breaks and the truth rises. And here is the truth. You were never broken. You were never behind. You were never unworthy. You were always the code. You were always the vessel. You were always the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the imagined and manifested, the divine and the human. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to remember the frequency of wholeness, and when you do, the world begins to remember too. You're not alone. You never were. Others are waking up just like you, feeling the same pull, hearing the same call, remembering the same rhythm, and when you find each other, there is no need to explain. The field does the speaking. The energy does the knowing. That's how resonance works. That's how tribes are found. Not by blood, but by vibration. You are part of a collective remembering, and every time you choose coherence over chaos, you contribute to the frequency of healing. Every time you choose presence over panic, you stabilize the field. Every time you choose love, not as a concept but as a way of being, you become a transmitter of liberation, and that matters more than you know. So keep walking, keep tuning, keep breathing. You are not becoming the code. You are simply remembering that you are it. And every cell in your body is already vibrating with that truth. Let it rise. Let it recalibrate every part of your being. Let it inform the way you speak, move, create, love, exist. Because this isn't just about information. This is initiation. And your life will never be the same. There's something sacred happening right now. You may not see it with your eyes, but you can feel it. A subtle rewiring, a quiet shift in the way your energy rests inside your body. The code isn't just being remembered, it's being embodied. And that's what makes this different from anything you've experienced before. Because knowledge alone doesn't change you, embodiment does. When you take what you know and breathe it into your being, it becomes who you are. It begins to move through you as presence, as power, as clarity. This is the essence of the awakened state, not a constant high, but a grounded knowing, a rooted awareness that cannot be shaken, even when the external world is chaotic. Because your compass no longer depends on conditions, it lives inside of you. Your alignment becomes your true north, and when you live from that place, decisions become easier, timing feels guided. You stop second-guessing your intuition because it becomes louder than the voices of doubt. The more you trust it, the more it speaks. And the more it speaks, the more life begins to mirror that clarity. You begin to walk differently. You speak more slowly, not out of hesitation, but because you're no longer rushing to prove something. You listen more deeply because you know that every moment holds information for your growth, even the uncomfortable ones, especially the uncomfortable ones. You no longer resist discomfort because you've learned how to sit with it, breathe with it, listen to it. You've stopped fearing your own shadows. You've stopped running from the parts of yourself you once judged. Because you now understand that every shadow carries a key, every wound holds a message, and every piece you disowned was never meant to be cut off. It was meant to be brought back home. This is integration. This is healing, not fixing what was broken but reuniting what was divided. You are gathering the fragments of yourself, piece by piece, and weaving them into something whole, something holy, not in the religious sense, but in the sacred sense. The kind of holiness that doesn't need a temple because your body has become one. Your breath has become a prayer. Your thoughts have become offerings, and your life, your actual life, has become the altar. That's the gift of living in alignment with the code. You stop compartmentalizing the sacred. It's not something you visit once a week or reach for only when things fall apart. It becomes your baseline, your default, your foundation. And from that place everything else begins to recalibrate. Relationships shift. Not because you're trying to change people, but because you've changed your frequency. And when your frequency rises, people either meet you there or fall away. Either way, you bless them. Because you know that not everyone is meant to walk every path with you. You stop clinging, you stop chasing, you stop shrinking to be understood by those who are not ready to hear you. You let go with grace, you say no with love, you hold boundaries without guilt, because you understand now that your energy is not a resource to be drained by the past. It is a gift to be protected for your purpose. And yes, your purpose is real. It may not come with fanfare, it may not look the way you imagine, but it's encoded in your being. In the way you see the world, in the pain you've endured, in the wisdom you've earned, in the love you have the capacity to give. Purpose isn't something you find, it's something you remember, and when you live from alignment, it finds you. It shows up in your voice, in your choices, in the way you move through the day, and you don't need to force it, you just need to become the kind of vessel that can hold it. Because purpose is not about doing more, it's about being more true. And when you are true, life moves through you differently. It speaks to you through symbols, sensations, and synchronicities. It guides you not with a map, but with a knowing, a feeling, an energetic pull that says, yes, This is the way. You don't need all the answers, you never did. You just need to stay connected to your inner signal, that quiet, steady place inside you that is always calm, even when the surface is shaking. The code lives there. It always has. It's not something you need to earn or unlock with effort. It's something you need to remember by resting into your own essence. The more still you become, the louder it speaks. The more honest you become, the more it reveals. And what it reveals is this: you were never separate. Not from source, not from others, not from your higher self. The idea of separation was the dream, but now you are waking up. And as you wake, you see more clearly. You feel more deeply. You love more fully. Not from a place of need, but from a place of overflow. Because now you are rooted. Now you are connected. Now you are remembering who you are. And when you remember who you are, fear begins to fall away. Not all at once, but layer by layer, like old armor you no longer need. Fear of being seen, fear of being rejected, fear of being wrong. It dissolves in the light of self-knowing, because once you know yourself, you stop fearing the opinions of those who don't. You stop handing your power to people who never learned how to hold their own. You stop waiting for permission to be magnificent. You just are. That doesn't make you better than anyone. It makes you more you. And that's the greatest gift you can offer the world. Not imitation, not perfection. Just the full, unapologetic frequency of your truth. When you walk in that truth, you heal more than just yourself. You become a field of coherence that affects everything around you. You become a tuning fork that reminds others of their own resonance. You don't even need to speak. Your presence becomes the invitation. And that's why your work matters. That's why your path matters. Not because you're here to be worshipped or followed, but because you are here to remember. And when you do, you light the way for others without even trying. You're not here to save anyone. You're here to be so deeply aligned with your essence that your existence becomes a transmission, and those who are ready will hear it. They'll feel it. They'll find you. Because the frequency of truth always finds its match. It doesn't have to shout. It just has to shine. When you remember who you are, the world starts to look different. Not because it's changed, but because you have. You're no longer seeing through the filters of fear, scarcity, and separation. You're seeing through the eyes of the code, through the geometry of truth, through the lens of alignment. You start to realize that the mountains you thought were obstacles were actually teachers, that the delays were divine timing, that the pain wasn't punishment, it was a portal. And now you've walked through it. You've come out on the other side with your vision sharper, your spirit steadier, and your energy cleaner. You've shed old skins. You've rewired your beliefs. You've remembered your essence. And now you carry that remembrance into every interaction, every moment, every breath. You are no longer just existing, you are transmitting. You're not asking life for signs, you are the sign. You're not chasing purpose. You've become a living embodiment of it. You've stopped wondering if you're ready, because readiness is no longer something you wait for. It's something you decide, and you've decided to wake up, to align, to embody, to create. The codes of 4 are no longer outside of you, they are in you, they are you. You are the earth, stable, rooted, capable of holding everything without crumbling. You are the water, fluid, intuitive, able to cleanse and renew with every wave. You are the fire, alive with vision, clarity, and the courage to burn through illusion. You are the air, light, expansive, able to rise above limitation and remember the sky that you've always been. These codes aren't just spiritual ideas. They are energetic realities. They shape the way you think, the way you feel, the way you create. And when they work together, when they harmonize, you become something extraordinary. Not because you're perfect, but because you're true. True to your energy, true to your path, true to your soul. This is what bends time. This is what reshapes reality. Not effort, not struggle, not manipulation, but truth. Embodied, radiant truth, the kind that vibrates through your cells, the kind that can't be faked, the kind that whispers in the silence between your thoughts and reminds you. You've always known the way. You came here to remember, and you have. You came here to reclaim, and you are. You came here to embody, and you're doing it now. There is nothing more to wait for, nothing more to prove, no final destination to arrive at. You're not incomplete. You're not unfinished. You're in motion, in evolution, in sacred divine flow. So as you move forward from this moment, let yourself walk as the code, speak as the code, lead, love, create and rest as the code. Let your energy teach what words never could. Let your presence disrupt every system built on fear and awaken every soul still caught in the dream of limitation. Not by force, not by noise, but by simply being who you are, fully, fearlessly, unapologetically, because that is the revolution, that is the frequency, that is the doorway through which the new world emerges. And it begins with you. It always has. It always will.